Greetings everyone, this is SteamTeamRedubUK, CC Trainor-Ling, here to bring you another retro review from past seasons of The Loud House. In today's video, we take a look at the official Season 3 premiere, where the family's best laid plans turn upside down very early, and things can only get crazier from there. Today's episode is titled Tripped. First we'll discuss the plot, and then my thoughts and critiques with my final score. So, let's get right into it. The episode begins with Lincoln announcing his family saved up enough money to go on a vacation to Weeping Willow Resort and Lodge at Lake Michigan. Along the way, it seems as if everything is going wrong for both the family and Vanzilla, which ends up getting carried away by a truck. The family compete in an open mic contest, and they use the cash prize to get on a bus, but they accidentally end up on a prison bus, and soon enough, they find an old plane which they use to eventually spot Vanzilla on the car carrier from earlier. They finally make it to the resort hotel, only to be told they missed their check-in time and their rooms were given away. Miraculously, they once again encounter a farmer, famously known as Jerry Kling the Cherry King, and he allows them to stay on the top floor he rented out as a way of repaying them for helping him earlier. The episode ends with the family finally enjoying their vacation and seeing the prisoner who they met on the bus finally crashing the plane the family used into the place he truly belongs. Well, that concludes the plot of the episode, so now we come to my thoughts and critiques. This may not have been the first televised episode to kick off the third season, but even so, this was quite a unique episode for the season, and it really was a wild ride from start to finish. You really feel for the Louds in this one, because with how many of them there are, and how tightly budgeted their home life can be, trying to save money to take even one legitimate vacation is a challenge in and of itself. If filling up a water jug with money to afford a simple hotel getaway for two people is hard enough like we see in the episode Sweet and Sour, just look at how much it took them to fill it up again for a family getaway for 13 people. Everyone worked hard in their own way to raise that money, so to see their plans get ruined before they even made it to the hotel just makes you think the Louds can never catch a break. They couldn't even catch a break with lunch. Note to self, never allow Lenny to oversee food preparation ever again. Anyway, this episode had its share of noteworthy moments, and they were the biggest highlights in my book. Their song Road Trippin' Blues was pretty good, since it was practically a recap of the entire first half of the episode. Then there's Rita flying the plane, something she learned to do when her dad was in the military. It's something we see her do and have referenced again in future episodes, and I hope the writers dedicate an entire episode to it one day. She also said she can pop wheelies in a tank. Now that I would like to see. Then there's the moment they rescue Vanzilla. It was kinda epic in its own way, and it's the little things that happened during that sequence that played a role later on. Specifically the dad's watch getting broken from flying debris, and that contributed to why they missed their hotel check-in time. And speaking of the little things that played an important role to the story, Farmer Jerry Kling was a big help, and the Louds never saw it coming. They first looked at him as a guy who passed them on the road and thought he was showing off, and yet their need to get back at him resulted in Vanzilla crashing nose first into a ditch. Then they put aside their feelings from earlier by helping him when his truck broke down, and he even gave them free cherries as his way of saying thanks. No one in the family held a grudge, neither did Jerry, and I really respected how civil and generous everyone acted towards one another. If the Louds hadn't stopped to help, Jerry would have missed his check-in time at the same hotel the Louds were heading to, and that's how we got to the resolution. Seeing how the family was ultimately screwed after all they went through to make it to the hotel in what was basically a decimated Vanzilla convertible, only to miss their check-in time and therefore having no place to stay, it turned out the guy they helped was the famous cherry farmer who grows a product the dad uses all the time. Why this cherry farmer felt the need to rent out the entire top floor of a hotel is still a mystery, but it goes to show how even a total stranger was willing to help this family in need, and everything worked out for everyone, and maybe the Louds made a new friend in the process as well. Every scene that was shared between Jerry and the Louds, and how pretty much everything that happened leading to the resolution for all the characters involved, was a good example of writing with the intent of giving something, or someone, a meaningful purpose to push the story forward. Some call it convenient, but I call it planning ahead and not just randomly doing something just to fill time. Of course, there are some moments in this episode I do find a little more convenient than others, so now we come to my critiques. The first overly convenient moment was when the family stopped to help Jerry when he needed to change a blown out tire. The dad accidentally released the brake on Vanzilla, and it just rolled down the hill. It's hard to accept the notion of, well, maybe they didn't really see what happened. I honestly don't buy that. While the kids are helping to unload the cherries, with Lucy just standing standing there and being no help at all. They're seen looking back in the direction where Vanzilla was, and they are literally stacking the crates where their car should have been parked. To be that oblivious to what just happened says a bit too much on where their heads were at. Then, as they were performing Road Trippin' Blues, didn't it strike you as rather convenient that suddenly some of the family members were playing instruments when the episode House Music established how no one else besides Luna could play to save their lives? Then again, that same episode proved you don't really need to have that much talent to win over a crowd, so I guess that logic can go either way for this episode too. I mean, unless Luna has been giving music lessons to everyone off screen, their performance came off as contrived. Good song, but still contrived. Then there's the moment Lana fixes up the old plane to get it running again. While I'm willing to accept the idea that she was carrying her wrench and hammer with her the whole time, where exactly did she get the nighttime diaper if everything else was inside Vanzilla? And really, a diaper being used as a replacement for engine parts, and that thing is going to help get a plane off the ground? It's like wondering why the dad won't keep a wallet in his pocket, but he'll always have a cowbell if the situation calls for one. There are so many questions that I have when it comes to the second act, especially when the plane is getting fixed up, but maybe I should just accept the idea that in this universe, diapers have their mechanical uses, and cowbells are more important than money and a driver's license. And finally, there's the running gag of forgetting Lily. This happened 3 times in the first act, and honestly, that was enough. However, it happened 2 more times in the second act, and it really wasn't as funny the 4th and 5th times around. This is where the writing took the rule of 3 technique and made the running gag less effective as they kept it going throughout the episode. If they had spaced out the gag between the first and second acts, it would have provided a more comedic balance. Just take out the second and fourth instances, and it would have been just fine. The writers didn't overdo the gag where one of the kids goes deadpan as they say, "Don't ask if you really don't want to know." So for them to overdo the Lily being forgotten gag was very unnecessary, and a little forceful in their attempt to make what was happening to her come off as funny. Maybe I'm thinking too much on it, but that's just me. Overall, this episode was a great way to officially kick off production to the 3rd season. The family had an adventure that was probably more exciting than the resort they were staying at, and seeing everyone do their best to try to make the most of a horrible situation was as chaotic as the series is known to be. The writing had a good way of moving the story forward by giving most of the scenes on their journey a purpose, with the biggest purpose coming from Jerry Kling, who not only benefited from the Louds getting involved in his troubles, but the Louds benefited from him getting involved in their troubles too. I still can't get over the many contrived and convenient ways of moving the story along, like how no one saw Vanzilla roll away as they stacked cherry crates where their car should have been, and how Lana was able to fix a broken plane in very little time and with anything but conventional components for such a machine. But sometimes you just have to overlook those head-tilting moments of cartoon logic. The song number was pretty good, they got Vanzilla back, and after everything they went through, they definitely earned a happy ending. With that said, I give Tripped an 8 out of 10. Well folks, that concludes my review of Tripped. The only other thing I can say about this episode is just when you thought Nickelodeon left the days of adult innuendo in the past, Lana feeling the need to draw clothes on a lady because she thought the tattoo artist forgot to draw them just seems so 90s. It's not a lot, I know, but I'll take the joke for what it is. So, as far as this episode goes, what did you guys think of it? Love it? Hate it? Something you would add? Change? Keep it as it is? Let me know in the comments below, and make sure to subscribe to this channel for the latest Loud House content. That's going to do it for me. I'll catch you guys for the next video, but until then, this is SteamTeamRedubUK, CC Trainor-Ling, signing off. Peace out, home slices.